Today I'm going to be doing a quick little video essentially benchmarking the EVGA GTX770 SuperClock. And the reason for that is, well, if you haven't noticed, or if you haven't been watching the Newegg TV channel lately, I've actually been filling in for Paul quite a bit, just because he's been in Taiwan for the last couple days. So I've been doing some unboxing videos, trying to offload some of the work that he usually does for the channel. So I've been doing a lot of GTX770 videos lately, especially since they just came out. But essentially from the cards that I was looking at, the one that caught my eye the most was the EVGA GTX770 SuperClock. Not so much just because of the performance, well, that too, but all the cards that I was looking at Newegg were pretty much more or less the same as far as specs go. I mean, there was a bit of a difference between base clock and boost clock frequencies, just depending on the factory overclock settings that the manufacturer had used. But essentially the thing that stuck out to me most about the EVGA card was its aftermarket cooler. And I'm talking about the brand new one that they just implemented into their 700 series of cards, which is the Active Cooling Extreme, or the ACX cooler as they're calling it. So I just kind of wanted to test it out, see how the thermals did, and all around just how the performance of the GTX 770 does with today's high-end games. So I tested a few games today. I'm going to show them to you in just a second. Here's some nice footage, B-roll of the card itself. Just a really stunning looking cooler, by the way, as well. I think that's also kind of what urged me to take it home and test it personally, just because it looks really nice. Kind of has a very classy, elegant look to it, and I admit it, I'm a sucker for aesthetics. But essentially, these are just some casual benchmarks. I didn't compare the card to any other cards just because I'm pretty strapped for time with Taiwan coming up pretty soon. I leave Saturday, so I'm trying to crunch a lot of things right now, but thought I'd get this last video out there before I hop on a plane and fly to Taiwan. So with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed the benchmarks, and here you go. Alright guys, so those are the benchmarks, and what have we learned from the results today? Well, for starters, we can say clearly that the GTX 770 is a pretty badass card, and you should be able to achieve very playable frame rates, if not gluttonous frame rates, for all of today's top games, especially if you don't crank up everything too far to the max. I remember cranking up Metro Last Light just completely maxed out, and I think I was getting like an average of 28 frames per second. But essentially, you know, you turn down a little bit of anti-aliasing here and there, or whatever it is, and you should be good to go. This is just a really good card, and essentially also I wanted to note the cooler did fairly well as well. But essentially, I was seeing temps in, as you guys saw, in the mid-70s for most of the games. There were only 2 games where the card actually achieved, or actually hit 81 degrees Celsius, and that was for BioShock Infinite as well as Metro Last Light. Of course, the card didn't get hotter than that because of NVIDIA's GPU Boost 2.0. Basically, all the 700 series cards that come shipped are defaulted at 80 degrees Celsius temperature target. All the other games were staying relatively cool, pretty much matching what my DirectCu 2 GTX 670 is able to achieve. So, very impressive stuff with the Active Cooling Extreme cooling design that EVGA has most recently implemented into their 700 series cards. So, glad to say that definitely recommend this card for anyone looking for an upgrade, or if you're just looking to build a system and you're looking for some really powerful performance with really decent thermals. Definitely the EVGA GTX 770 SuperClocked is the way to go, or at least one of the ways to go.